Or, you know, the spoiler reference could be, and Art Laffer, maybe you can help me with this, because I know you've advised Donald Trump on tax-related matters. I know other candidates as well. But part of that spoiler argument was that you don't necessarily win it for yourself, but you slow the momentum for the guy who has the big lead. Or is it too late for that? What do you think?
Well, what I think you're seeing here, to be contrary, is that you're seeing the two best economic plans doing the best tonight by far. I don't think these other issues, whether you've got small hands or whether it's David Duke or not, that's all ridiculous. People want jobs, output, employment, production.
Why is the small hand thing ridiculous? I thought that was fascinating.
Fun. I thought it was really funny, too. I loved it. But you look at Trump and Cruz, they've got by far the best tax plans, the best economic plans. They will create the prosperity, and that's what the general election's going to be on, and we're going to win big time. And I think Charlie's off on this one. It's about the only time I've not agreed with you, Charlie. But
thank you.
This time, but seriously, this is about economics, and Trump can do it, and so can Cruz.
I
agree with that.
Since you brought me into the conversation, I just like to ask you why. I would like to hear Trump talk more about economics and less about some of these
everyone
others.
knows what he can do. But everyone knows what he can do.
As it relates to immigration, that's his whole point. Well,
he talks about rapists.
That's one of his points on immigration. The fact that we are issuing all of these green cards, more than 1 million green cards every year, that become permanent residents, and they're taking Americans' jobs. That's one of the issues.
If he gave the Milton Friedman line, which he should have, that you can't have open borders and a welfare state, if he kept hammering that home, I agree with that, but that's not what he's saying. And I wish he would use that rhetoric instead of some of that other stuff.
But this is the rhetoric that people are hearing, because the average GOP voter out there is talking about all of these immigrants coming in, taking their jobs, and open borders and open trade, meaning lower wages for them. So that's what's resonating with the people.
I would say Cruz has made that economic argument much more efficiently than Donald.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably. I don't know. I mean, newsflash, Trump's winning with whatever he's doing.
He sure is.
I don't feel qualified to counsel Donald Trump at this point on his campaign. He seems to be doing all right without us.
Stuart, you know, one of the things that has been raised about his economic plan, though, is that it's going to dramatically add to the deficit, the debt over the years. Of course, they score these things all sorts of ways.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how you score that. Look, if you reduce individual tax rates, corporate tax rates, I would have thought that gives a real boost to private enterprise and boosts the economy, and therefore brings in more tax revenue.
And you've argued that's one of the things that have been helping the markets, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the markets are really looking that closely at the election at the moment, but they will. And when they get hold of the idea that Donald Trump's plan and Ted Cruz's plan, as suggested there, when they get hold of that they're going to go for growth in the private sector.
You know what? I think there's so much pent-up demand right now. There are so many things, Neil, that are on the shelf, that are going to come off the shelf. As soon as this sentiment changes, that people feel like, oh, we've got a candidate that's focused on moving the needle on economic growth, market rallies, economy turns.
I got to ask Art this. Is the market's going to like protectionism? Your guy preaches a form of protectionism. Why would the markets like that?
They're not going to like protectionism. But they're not going to like protectionism. But what you're talking about right here is you've all of a sudden switched the topic to growth. And once they get against Hillary or Bernie, that growth argument plays really well. And they're going to sweep the country, whether it be Cruz or Trump.
But Art, what do you think of his protectionist stuff? What do you think about his trade policies?
Obviously, I'm a free trader all the way, 100%.
So you disagree with him on that?
But I don't see him putting on tariffs, to be honest with you. I just don't.
No, he backpedaled out of it. He backpedaled out of it 45% from the China.
Position.
May I ask Arthur?
Sure.
Art, I mean, I love the fact you're a free trader. I'm a free trader. Here's my problem. We're looking at about $16 trillion in external trade debt. As a matter of fact, we're looking at $500 billion in deficits. Whether it's fiscal policy, whether it's trade, it's disaster. And we are not looking at free and fair trade simultaneously, whether we talk about the European Union, whether we talk about China. We do have to find balance, or the country's growth will not be assured. Would you agree with that?
You know, let me just say that you need the growth first. Growth is the sine qua non of the entire system. And to do that, you need a low-rate, broad-based, flat tax. You need spending restraints, sound money, free trade, and minimal regulations. And Cruz and Trump are by far the two best on these issues. By far the best.
Well, how come Trump doesn't talk about his tax plan more than Art?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about this for a second, because he hammers home the idea that he's going to remove, hedge fund managers manipulating things and able to pay lower taxes. But you don't necessarily hear him hammering home about that tax plan. Why not?
Well, because he's hammering home against people who have very similar tax plans, Maria. You know, it's hard to separate and make distinctions here.
So what's most important about Trump's tax plan from your standpoint?
Oh, the 15% corporate flat rate is perfect. He's lowered all the personal income tax rates dramatically.
Okay.
With economic growth, you're going to get that budget coming back into line. To Lou Dobbs' point, with that economic growth, you're going to get the trade brought in as well. It's growth, growth, and growth. And that is the issue. But that's the issue against Hillary and against Bernie, not against Cruz.
Because we have to go to commercial and pay
Sorry.
I cheat you, my friend.
Thank you, Neil.